Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Ready Set Drone. Today we have the Shuriken X1 FPV racer and we're going to check it out, so stay tuned. Okay, so first of all, I'd like to say thank you to GearBest for supplying this to us for review. I got this in the mail about a week ago and had been dying to try it. Finally got a chance to take it out yesterday and fly it for a good 2 hours. Had a really good time flying this thing. First of all, its packaging is great. It comes with a nice foam cutout that I would recommend holding on to. It even sits in there with the props on it, and there's a space for batteries. So I'm holding onto the box just to be able to transport it from place to place. It is a 200 millimeter FPV racing quad. It is a carbon fiber frame, fairly thick. I think I saw somewhere that it's 4 millimeters thick, but it's pretty substantial. It's also got screws built into it so that you can remove the arms. It's fairly modular. One thing that's really cool is that the board that powers everything is actually a power distribution board. It has the flight controller, an F3 flight controller, and it has the video transmitter all built into the board. So they're able to get it down pretty flat. This thing is actually, I mean, it's only that tall. Now, of course, it's got to have the camera and the batteries and the motors and everything, but as far as all the electronics and stuff inside there, it is really pretty aerodynamic and flat. Everything built onto this one board. It comes with a pretty nice antenna. I've crashed this thing a few times. You can probably tell by my pile of broken props here. This was all just yesterday that I crashed it a few times, but the antenna actually held up very well. Pull that out real quick. So here's the antenna. It's got a nice cover on the top of it, and of course, you know, you want to attach the antenna before you plug in the battery, just because you could fry your transmitter without it. It even had a warning sticker on it saying not to put the battery on until you had attached the antenna. The motors are T-motor 2305 2600 kV motors. And these things have got a lot of get up and go when you punch out. It has BL Heli S ESCs, nicely put right onto the arms here, kind of out of the way. It is, as I said before, 200 millimeters motor to motor, and it is a true X configuration, which means that the distance here is the same, or very, very close. It's got an XT60 battery connector, so it will take either 4S or 3S batteries. I flew it with both yesterday. This Idea Fly, and then a what is this guy here? This is one that I used on my Storm at 3S. You can really feel the difference when you fly it with a 4S versus a 3S. It's got a lot more punch, but the 3S is great for if you're kind of a mediocre FPV pilot like me. The 3S is plenty of power. You just have to make sure you give it enough gas so you're not always bumping against the ground. It has the ability to switch via these buttons on the back. So when you plug it in, you can actually come back here and change the channel that it's transmitting on. You can also change the milliwatt of the transmitter. So you can either do 200 or 600 milliwatts for the transmitter, and you can go across 40 different channels. And it's nice because instead of having to, it's actually, the buttons are up here, instead of having to set a bunch of dip switches or open it up, you just go back here and push these buttons in order to get it onto the right channel and or at the right frequency. It has a USB connector in the back, and it can be connected to both Betaflight or CleanFlight. It by default is set up for Betaflight. I think it has Betaflight flashed onto the flight controller. So if you wanted CleanFlight, you'd have to reflash the flight controller, but Betaflight works great, so that's kind of a nice touch. It weighs 343 grams without the battery, but that does include the antenna and the props. It has a Sony camera in the front. It's a 600 TVL camera, and it's set up at a pretty aggressive tilt angle. So you can see you can actually tilt up from there. So if you were flying like that, that would be a good angle for you, but that's pretty crazy aggressive to be flying at. Even tilted all the way down, I found it pointing up at the sky quite a bit. There is a way to actually adjust the camera so you can go a little bit further down by moving this bar here. I haven't done that yet. I did fly it like this yesterday, and as long as I was flying forward, I was fine. But when I was hovering, all I could see was the sky, so that was a little bit daunting. So the key there is just don't hover. Always keep moving forward if you want to fly it like this. But like I said, you can actually take this little bar out and set it so that the camera can be tilted down in a flatter angle. It does come with the receiver built into it, already installed, so you don't have to do any soldering or plugging or anything like that. But you have to specify what kind of receiver you want, either DSMX, Fast, or FrSky. I have a Tyrannus, and so I went with the FrSky receiver, and the binding was pretty easy. There's a button right over next to the video transmitter right up here on top, and you can see it right there. You press that down with a paper clip or a edge of a knife or something like that, and while you plug it in, and it'll go into bind mode. Then you set your transmitter into bind mode, and mine bound up pretty easily. And then you're going to want to go into beta flight and do a little bit of configuration, although it flies pretty nice right out of the box. The transmission quality from the camera is really nice. I actually have not seen as clear a video coming off of some of my other FPV quads, and so I liked that. I recorded some in my Fat Sharks, and you'll see it here. The LEDs in the back are very bright, and that's nice because it's easy to see, first of all, what channel you're on, or what frequency or what power you're transmitting at, but also just being able to fly at line of sight with those LEDs in the back is really nice. It's durable, with the exception of, as I said, breaking lots of props. That was my only problem yesterday. It comes with a spare set of 4 props, but I went through those very quickly and had to switch to other props. I know they're kind of fancy. As a matter of fact, this is their HQ props, high quality props. This is what came with it from Mr. Steel, and they're nice props. They're just pretty rigid and they break pretty easily. But I have some Helipal props that I bought for a different 250 that fit just fine and broke as well, but at least I was able to replace some of them. So when you mount the battery on this thing, you actually have to set it here in this tray. I know a lot of people, including myself, aren't big fans of bottom mounted batteries just because of the possibility of destroying the battery if you crash or just bouncing on it or whatever. I did find that this little tray on the bottom helped a lot because it kind of protects the battery and keeps it cinched in real tight. The Velcro is also really nice. It's a good thick piece of Velcro, and so when I pulled it in and cinched it, it worked really well. The other thing I did in order to keep my cable management, I'll show you with this one, I actually put it in here like this. And then I actually took my battery cable and threaded it back through so that I didn't have as much cable hanging out for possibly hitting into props and stuff. So I ran the cable back through like this, and then I tightened the whole thing down, and then I plugged it in like this. Of course, you want to make sure that your battery's in the right spot. Actually, it's not right now, so slide it up a little bit so that it's balanced, kind of in the center. There we go. Just to make sure that you don't have anything flopping around to get hit by the propellers. So there it is on right now. You can see that we're on F1. So I guess there's eight different channels on each of these frequencies, and each channel has, well, there's 5, A, B, C. Looked like there wasn't a D, but E and F. So that's 5 times 8 channels each is 40 channels. And then you can see here, that's the 600. So if I hold this down, now my transmitter's off. PF is power off for transmitter. And then if I hold it down again, it should go to 20, which would be 200. Yep, now it's at 200. Now if I hold it down again, 600. So that's going to give me the most strongest transmission signal, but it's also going to cause the most interference if you're flying with other people. So you just have to kind of gauge that. But you can see how bright these LEDs are in the back. The USB port is also right here in the back, so that makes it easy for you to plug it in to do your configuration in beta flight. Okay, I was going to show you one other thing real quick, actually two other things. It does come with this little 3D printed GoPro session mount, and I don't have a session, but I believe a session will fit right in there perfectly. And then what I think you do is set it up for whatever way the session should be set up, and then you put it on like this, and then it does come with this little packet of goodies, and in that packet are a couple of zip ties, and my guess would be that you just zip tie this right here onto the top, and that's how you hold your session on, or you use Velcro to do it. I was also going to show you real quick a couple of things in Betaflight. I've got it plugged in right now to Betaflight, and I was just going to calibrate accelerometer, and then on the receiver.
Welcome to OpenTX. Switch warning. No battery.
Okay, you can see this is all good.
No battery.
And then I've
No
got
battery.
aux 1 and aux 2 set up for Army
No battery.
and flight
No
mode,
battery.
flight ranges. So that's aux 2, that's my flight ranges, and that's what I
No
want
battery.
to actually change.
No battery.
Okay, so I didn't have anything for angle mode,
No battery.
but now I just turned it on. That's going to be my center switch.
No battery.
Let's see. Make all these
No
aux
battery.
2.
No battery.
So
No battery.
angle, horizon,
No battery.
air.
No battery. No battery.
Okay, so I just did some basic things in Betaflight to set it up. All right, gonna unplug you. So overall, I'm a really big fan of the Shuriken X1. This thing is a ton of fun to fly. It's versatile because you can fly it with 3S or 4S batteries. It's very fast, and it's very durable. I had several crashes, and except for breaking some props, I didn't have any other issues with it. Bent the antenna a little bit, but that actually went right back into place as well. It's kind of got some thick metal in there, so it seems to hold up pretty well to crashes. There are a couple of small gripes that I have about it. Number one, the props that come with it are pretty rigid and do break fairly easily. I suppose the answer to that is don't crash as often as I do, or just carry lots of spare props, but they are pretty common size, and I was able to use some old Helipal props that I had that worked just fine. Number two, I'm not a huge fan of the battery on the bottom. I find that to be one of those design things that I wish everybody thought of a better place to put it, or a better way to protect it. But I do like this little tray that protects it from just being right there on the bottom if you crash or anything. And then finally, the default camera angle being as aggressive as it is seems a little weird, just that they would send it out with this camera angle quite so high, tilted up. But like I said, you can change that just by taking this bolt and moving it out. There's something in the instructions about it. Other than those three things, I really like this guy. It's fun to fly, it's durable, I don't feel like I'm gonna break it. It's got great quality on the FPV signal. It's easy to change the channels. It works with Betaflight, so you can go in and configure things. And it comes with a radio or a receiver already built into it, which is great because honestly, I'm not a big fan of the plug and flies. It's never just plug and fly. There always seems to be some other stuff you have to do, and it's a little more complicated. So having the ability to just bind it with my radio as is great. So if you're interested, I've got a link in the description of where you can get this Shuriken X1 on GearBest. Please, if you like the video, give it a like. And if you want to see more drone videos, check out Ready Set Drone. Thanks for watching.